Pop Squad. Coming at you. I've got some Little Ugly Mane. This was sent in by one of my patrons, Jake. Jake is also the person who sent in a couple videos from a week or two ago for the Koreatown Oddity. I think this was in the same email, and so I did those before because I was super interested to find out more about the Koreatown Oddity, and now I'm getting back to these. So this is Little Ugly Mane's on Doing an Evil Deed Blues. What a great name. Produced by Sean Kemp, who is in fact Little Ugly Mane. This is track 1 on Prelude to Panopticon on Doing an Evil Deed Blues. Okay, so wow, that title even is interesting. Prelude to Panopticon. A panopticon is a jail, a prison, a way of setting up some sort of construction, building, society in which everyone in it can be observed from a single point. So you have a guard standing in the center and like jail cells in a circle all around, and well, really you need like 2 guards, one looking either direction, to be able to see everybody who's in prison. Or you just need a society like ours in which you have closed circuit TV cameras and satellite cameras everywhere, and then you also live in a panopticon. And I'm imagining that's kind of what he's talking about here in Little Ugly Mane's, or rather in Prelude to Panopticon, the album name. This has a little bit of information here. So through an announcement on Facebook, this track is supposedly Little Ugly Mane's final song before releasing his last project, of which the release date is currently unknown. You can get this song on Bandcamp for $2 or less. It may have been free at one point, but isn't anymore. The song contains various samples from DITC to the Carter family. I don't know what DITC is. Let me do a quick Google search. Digging in the Crates crew? DITC? Is that? That looks like it's likely. To the Carter family, the main sample is from the song Honey Chain by Throwing Muses. Oh, I kind of like them. And this is listed as rap, is the only tag in here. Came out in 2013, and let's check this out. Once again, Jake, thanks for sending this in. I'm very curious about this because it sounds kind of interesting. Ooh, almost 8 minutes long.
You and I have some things to discuss.
I'ma let the world know what time it is.
Life on earth is just a death sentence.
One little thing just leads to the next
I'm
sentence.
at the table like the Godfather smoking the Dutch.
I'ma let the world know what time it is.
Life on earth is just a death sentence.
One little thing just leads to the next
I'm
sentence.
at the table like the Godfather smoking the Dutch.
I'ma let the world know what time it is.
Life on earth is just a death sentence.
One little thing just leads to the next
I'm
sentence.
at the table like the Godfather smoking the Dutch.
I'ma let the world know what time it is.
Life on earth is just a death sentence.
One little thing just leads to the next
I'm at
sentence.
the table like the Godfather smoking the Dutch.
I'ma let the world know what time it is.
Definitely get kind of a 90s rap feel to this. Not sure if it would be considered boom bap, but it definitely feels like kind of old school rap.
Life on earth is just a death sentence.
One little thing just leads to the next
I'm
sentence.
at the table like the Godfather smoking the Dutch. I'ma let the world know what time it is. I got some records, custom samples made in mine. I wrote some raps, I had a couple fire lines. I dropped the tape, I did a show, I got some shine. Never made a lot of money, that's fine. I got some records, custom samples made in mine. I wrote some raps, I had a couple fire lines. A couple couple labels ask me if I wanna sign. But rapping ain't my grind, I just used to like to rhyme. I used to like to rhyme when it was other people's lyrics. Spitting Raekwon bars in the mirror just to hear if it sounded the same. Dreams of insurmountable fame and valuable chains. Fit so much I drowned before the drought ever came. And that's the shit that never leaves you. Every line you rhyme leaves back to cats that teach you. See through. Right around the time I play his beat group. Started making beats too. Never tried to please you. Numerous influences, but I was only clowning, dog. You from me pursuing it was nothing I was counting on. Seemed too far to go the distance. Picture from the mound I'm on. Pissed off, doubted on. Thought the map was routed wrong. Persistence was the tag along. Hit me like an atom bomb. So I give it up to those that let us have a job. All you rappers stacks is long, cause Nina sang the saddest song. Bristol Session, Smith and Wesson, West happened to fabric on.
Art is imitation, creation is forever, innovation is spontaneous never. A lot of rappers put their work in so you can be clever. Everything is everything is everything is everything ever. The blues won't born in a bunker. Nothing can be born until you know how to hunger. I'm still married to America. Most you rappers dump it, cause you too blind plagued to see the spell they got you under.
I got some records, custom samples made in mine. I wrote some raps, I had a couple fire lines. I dropped the tape, I did a show, I got some shine.
It's really interesting because the music itself is super hypnotic and just that it kind of varies a little bit, but it just definitely gets you into this feel with it, and yet the lyrics are just packed full of information about like what he thinks about the world, where he comes from, where he gets his ideas for why he started rapping, why he continues to rap, what he thinks about America, what he thinks about people who've given up on the idea of America. I'm very curious if he is like maybe ex-military and just really honestly believes in America being a great place, right? And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, like, I'm curious what he thinks of it, because it seems like he wants this to succeed, right? He's talking about America, so like, why bring that up unless you're trying to say something? It sounds like what he's trying to say is this place is awesome. Like, you may be done with it, and a lot of rappers he thinks are done with it, and he said, no, that's not the case. It's interesting. It's interesting. Huh. I got some records, cut some samples, made of mine. I wrote some raps. I had a couple fire lines. That's a good line. I dropped a tape. I did a show. I got some shine. Never made a lot of money thus far. I got some records. Yeah, he just is making his music. This is just what he's got to do. He just likes to do it. That's really interesting. It's not that he just likes to do it, though. This is like what he lives for this, right? Like, there's no way you don't write a song like this about like where you come from and how you're standing on the shoulders of giants, and the stuff he said earlier. There were some really cool lines about, you can be clever because these other people wrote songs. Numerous influences, but that was just Clown and Dog. Oh, where is it? Yeah, here. Innovation is spontaneous. Never. A lot of rappers put the work in so you could be clever. Everything is everything is everything is everything ever. The blues won't born in a bunker. I don't understand. Weren't born in a bunker. It's a really interesting track.
Never made a lot of money.
I should say interesting. It's far more cerebral than a lot of music that we listen to, and I think that kind of is normal for Lil Ugly Mane. Like, he is definitely somebody who has some things he wants to say.
That's why I got some records, custom samples made of mine. I wrote some raps, I had a couple fire lines. A couple labels asked me if I wanna sign. But rapping ain't my grind, I just used to like to rhyme. I used to like to rhyme when it was all about linguistics. With Big L verses was like decoding hieroglyphics. Back when my mission was filling composition books, working how I spit the hook and how my mic position looked. Adolescent crook, lost up in a maze, Frankie Beverly. Rapping in my book was a phase that weighed heavily. Rearranging bars so that they properly placed. Whole pages scribbled black from all the sloppy mistakes. Made a promise that I go and split the guap for my ace. If I ever made a meal from merely rocking the place. I used to like the rhyme when there was never any pressure. When your own bars were stone cold, beat you on a stretcher. It wasn't business, it was pleasure. I heard God do a hip-hop, the most progressive music in the bunch. We eat tracks from '05 on a flashback lunch. Cause we move ahead every 30 seconds. So how's it been 40 years and all we fucking rap about is weapons?
Art is imitation, creation is forever, innovation is spontaneous never.
So that's an interesting question too, and I mean I can say what I think is the answer. We hear tracks from '05 and flashback lunch because we move ahead every 30 seconds. So how it's been 40 years and all we rap about is weapons. It's because people keep being brought up in the same exact way, in the same areas, under the same conditions, and they all feel like they need the weapons to survive. Yeah, it's fucked up.
A lot of rappers put their work in so you can be clever. Everything is everything is everything is everything ever. The blues won't warn in a bunker. Nothing can be born until you know how to hover. I'm still married to America. Most you rappers dump her, cause you too blind plagued to see the spell they got you under.
Love that.
I got some records, custom samples made of mine. I wrote some raps, I had a couple fire lines. I dropped the tape, I did a show, I got some shine. Never made a lot of money, that's fine. I got some records, custom samples made of mine. I wrote some raps, I had a couple fire lines. A couple labels asked me if I wanna sign. But rapping ain't my grind, I just used to like to rhyme.
Interesting. So that music at the end there, the person kind of singing old-timey country, folk, blues music, when it was all combined together and awesome. Apparently Joan Baez also did a version of that song, Engine 143, and I found a thing on Wikipedia here. I'm curious about that story, because I'm betting it's not a happy song. The song's earliest documented appearance was on Railroad Man magazine in 1913 as the wreck on the C&O, while in the earliest recording was 1924. The first use of the title Engine 143 was for a recording by the Carter family in 1929, which became one of the group's best-selling records and the basis for many subsequent recordings. The ballad in the tradition of Anglo-American train wreck songs, because it seems like something to have a tradition based around. It's based off the true story of the wreck of the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway's fast-flying Virginian near Hinton, Virginia, West Virginia in 1890. Was heading to Washington, D.C. in the early morning of October 23, 1890 when it struck a rock slide 3 miles outside of Hinton in Summers County, West Virginia. The train's 30-year-old engineer, George Alley, tried to stop the train, but the engine overturned and he was trapped in the wreckage, severely scalded. Alley died 5 hours later. His 2 firemen, both of whom leapt from the engine, were also scalded but survived. Remarkably, no passengers were injured. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, it sounds like it really sucked. I kind of expected something more from that other than just a story about a wreck of a train. But who knows? Maybe it has some other meaning that isn't recorded on that Wikipedia page. Really, really interesting stuff. Yeah, I think I said everything I needed to during the song. Little Ugly Mane just needs to make music, and this is the sort of stuff he's doing. And he's obviously got things to say. Nobody writes a song or records an album and names it Prelude to Panopticon without having something to say. So really, really cool stuff. Jake, thank you for sending this in. I know there's some more tracks that you also sent, so we'll be getting to those in the next week or so. Thanks. Pop Squat. Check it out. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.